What's going on, YouTube? Eric Bauer, back again with another video. With another video? Is it another? It is another video because you're watching it right now on YouTube, and I hope you stick with me through the duration. For those of you who did tune in to the last installment where I talked about the movies, I got to thank you for sticking with the video, for your comments, for your input, for all the positive feedback. People seem to like this shit, so I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to keep talking about movies that I think don't get talked about often enough. I'm going to kind of probably cut down the format. Last time, we talked about two really great flicks. This time, we're just going to hit one. Kind of. I might talk a little bit about another one before it, but I kind of have to in order to segue. That's beside the point. So, yeah, I hope you stick with me. I hope you enjoy the episode. There's more of these to come. I've got a lot in mind that I want to fucking put out there in the YouTuberverse. YouTube universe. For all you fucking movie fanatics to watch. And if you just want to see records, it's not going to be this video. Maybe the next video. Or maybe the video after that. There will be more. Promise. I don't want to say endless, but I have a large swath of shit to get through. All that said, let's get into this shit. So, I gotta fucking mention one thing before we go into what I actually want to talk about today. And we're gonna go back in time for this one. I mean, you gotta kind of go back in time for any movie you talk about. Even if it's modern, you gotta go back at least a little bit, right? If you want to be fucking technical or just annoying. But we're going to go back in time a bit further. This time I'm talking 40 years. 40 years ago. Can't believe this movie's fucking 40 years old. 1980. Big year for horror movies. A lot of fans would probably cite 1980 as one of the most seminal years in horror. Not just here in America, but abroad as well. And I mean, I would not argue that fact. I just want to make brief mention of one little movie that came out in 1980 that I think kind of helped change the way that a lot of people, not just viewers, but a lot of filmmakers looked at the daunting task of bringing a horror movie to theaters. And not just to theaters, but to audiences. That was key. Because any movie could get into a theater, but could you bring in an audience? That was the real question. In 1980, three people got together and made what I consider one of the most seminal slasher movies in U.S. history. And of course, if you haven't guessed already, talking about William Lustig's Maniac from 1980, starring Joe Spinell, with special effects, Tom Savini. Tom fucking Savini. Who had previously worked on Dawn of the Dead and Friday the 13th. In Maniac, he goes to the next level. His makeup work is fucking phenomenal. The movie itself is just a textbook lesson in maverick filmmaking. Maverick rogue filmmaking. So many rules were broken during the filming of that movie. And so many new ideas were kind of put in the heads of a lot of independent genre filmmakers at the time. Really kind of set a tone for what you could achieve with no permits, little budget, and just a cast and crew of people stoked to work on the project. Now, Maniac is not a fun movie in kind of the broadest sense of the word. It is not like a popcorn laugh about it with your friends type of movie. It is dark, it's visceral, and a lot of that you have to give credit to fucking Joe Spinell for, not just because he starred in it, but because of all the input that he offered to that film. I think he wrote it. I should have written that shit down. I took some notes, but not on that. Anyway, that said, it really set a tone. Lustig's direction is impeccable in that movie. It's just breakneck, start to finish. And that's because they had to move around a lot because they didn't have fucking permits. There's a notorious scene where they discharge live ammunition from a shotgun they had to flee. And by flee, I mean they had another car set up ready to get them out of there before police responded. Just awesome. Basically, the roadmap that they put out there for not just how they got their own movie done, but how they would inspire numerous other filmmakers to follow in their footsteps. Now, fast forward some. William Lustig, again, director of Maniac, moved on to do other projects in the wake of Maniac. I think immediately followed it up with the movie Vigilante, starring Robert Forster, which is a great film as well. And then he started into his Maniac Cop series, of which there's 3 installments, 2 of which are awesome, the third of which is kind of a mess, but still a fun time at the flicks. And he wanted to keep working after that. Some of his movies beyond Maniac Cop 3, not really as notable. But one of them, the one I want to talk to you about right now, I feel like is underlooked, underappreciated, not on anybody's radar, and kind of a fucking gem. The movie we're going to talk about today, if you couldn't figure it out from the thumbnail, 1989's Relentless, directed by William Lustig. Check it out.
Officer Ike Taylor was so respected, so admired.
Ike Taylor, hell of a cop.
There was only one way his son could turn out.
How come you're not on the job?
It wouldn't take me.
It would take you, Ike Taylor's kid. They're lost.
Buck Taylor doesn't need a gun. He's got the telephone.
Hello?
I called to see if you were home. I have to kill you. Tonight.
This lunatic is trying to show the world that he can pick anybody at random from a phone book and kill him.
You know, there's about 12 million people in L.A. One of them decides it's open season on people.
He knows your name.
One of them, Sam, against you and me.
He has your address.
Hit again last night. Twice.
It's all right.
He's got your number.
What do I do now? Tell me, please.
And you're about to be disconnected.
But if you act like a victim, you're gonna be a victim.
My father said I was sick. Once.
Judd Nelson is Buck Taylor, and Buck Taylor is relentless.
How'd you find my address?
In the phone book.
Relentless. Relentless is a 1989 feature film directed by William Lustig. Not written by William Lustig, but I mean, anybody probably could have penned that script. I can't fucking talk today. I'm going to be honest. I just got off work. It was a long fucking day. I'm pretty spent, but I wanted to bust this out. I should retract that previous statement. Not anybody could have penned that script, but of the movie itself, the script is probably one of the least compelling facets of it. You've got William Lustig direction, starring Judd Nelson, previously only known for movies like The Breakfast Club or St. Elmo's Fire. Those are the two that really come to mind when you think about his past work, specifically in the 1980s. Typically a John Hughes type production. Andrew McCarthy might co-star. Maybe Emilio Estevez. Molly Ringwald, sure, throw her in there. That type of movie. We're not going to talk about that type of movie. Co-starring Robert Loggia. Loggia. How do you say Robert Loggia's last name? I don't know. We're going to go with Loggia. Robert Loggia, fucking phenomenal actor. Kind of a character actor. I wouldn't say method, but definitely a face that you recognize. Maybe you don't know his name, but you're like, oh, shit. That guy was in Innocent Blood. Joe Dante. fucking great flick. No, not Joe Dante. The other guy, American Werewolf in London dude. I don't fucking know, man. Innocent Blood, though, great movie. We're not going to talk about that. I don't want to get off track. Also, co-starring Leo Rossi. Leo Rossi is a name that you might recognize in your head, and you probably will be like, who the fuck is Leo Rossi? When you see his face, you're like, oh shit, that guy, Leo Rossi. Halloween 2, hot tub scene. Yeah, that's Leo Rossi. As well as Meg Foster. Meg Foster, also pretty unmistakable presence in the movie. You've seen her before. She's usually a villain. She's great in this movie. She kind of plays against type for her, anyway. That makes up mostly the personnel. I'm not going to touch on the writer, the producer. It doesn't fucking matter, really. It's a William Lustig passion project. I don't even think he really talks about it that much. I would say Relentless is William Lustig's answer to the Italian Giallo. Now, you know the identity of the killer right off the bat, which kind of takes it outside of that Giallo territory, puts it more in like serial killer tone. Now, when I say Relentless was Lustig's Giallo, I kind of mean that he was cribbing a lot of the color grading, a lot of the cinematography, assuming he picked the shots. I want to say he probably had a lot of input in that department. Some of those camera angles in the movie, fucking wild, and really work to make the movie as watchable and as memorable as it is. You put a bunch of hacks into a project like this, and you get something totally forgettable. Looks like maybe made for TV on a Sunday night, past the kids' bedtime so the adults could stay up and watch it. Relentless is a bit more than that. In fact, it would have been totally inappropriate to put on television in 1989. It's not as graphic as Maniac. It's not as disturbing as Maniac. It's not as topically... what's the word? What word am I looking for? It's not as topically volatile as Maniac. But it does cover similar ground. In fact, I would say Maniac is probably the movie in Lustig's filmography that most closely set the path for Relentless to happen. Now, you'll definitely see elements of kind of the frenetic pace that he used in at least the first two Maniac Cop movies present in Relentless. There's some action, but it's not an action movie. It's a thriller. It's a very well-filmed thriller. It reeks of the late 80s, early 90s. Just the color use, the fashion, the architecture, and you'll see a lot of loving shots of architecture in the movie. The color. I can't not mention the color, and I know I already did, but I got to go back to it because it's just so brilliantly placed throughout the movie. There are no boring sets or sequences in the film. It's riveting basically from the point where it starts until the point where it ends, which I think that kind of relentless filmmaking is what is it, 31 years after the fact, make the movie still really fucking watchable, really engaging. Also aided, of course, by the excellent fucking cast. Judd Nelson, again, like Meg Foster, plays against type in this movie. You're told right off the bat, Judd Nelson's the killer. It's not a surprise. It's not a spoiler to say it in this discussion. Robert Loggia is fantastic, as always. He always brings a sense of like machismo and panache to his roles. A sense of like basically like a commanding presence. He's great as kind of the initial foil for Judd Nelson's character, who I guess say, I mean, they say it in the fucking trailer, Buck fucking Taylor is his name. Buck Taylor. What am I doing? Is this one going to be as watchable as the last one? I kind of hope so, but who knows? Maybe this shit just implodes on me. So, I mean, I know the trailer touched on it, and you already got to see that in all of its fucking glory. Intense, well-cut trailer. And that was one of the things as well back in those days, is that trailers were cut really well, for the most part. There are a few that kind of give away a little bit too much. The Relentless trailer perfectly suits what you're going to see as far as the feature film goes. It doesn't spoil too much. It doesn't give away too much. It doesn't show you any of the like penultimate scenes or the climax. It's a good picture of what you're going to see if you commit to the 90 minutes. Now, this is the movie itself, and sadly, look at that Judd Nelson beautification right there. You got Loggia, Rossi. Unfortunately, this is, if you want a physical copy of this movie, this is like the only way to get it, is this shit DVD from fucking, who released this? Columbia TriStar. Fucking put this in a better package, man. I would love like a 2K scan of this with better audio. Still highly watchable, and I'm going to hang on to this until there is an upgrade available. This is not just for me to show off a fucking DVD. So we're talking about the story, right? Did I get sidetracked? I think I did. Story-wise, Buck Taylor plays a rejected cop. Basically tried to get on the force, was denied because he didn't fucking pass the psych test. Should clue you in on the stability of his character. And he just loses it. He comes from kind of a torrid past where his father doled out a lot of mental and physical abuse. And he decides he needs to take that out on the city of Los Angeles. And he's got a shtick. Now, I don't want to spoil the shtick, because it's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. It's not something you see pop up in a lot of slashers. In fact, I haven't seen many slashers as engaging as Relentless since then. There have been a few. Dick Moss, Amsterdam, comes to mind. There's another movie not very well known called Out of the Dark, which stars Divine was in that one. Divine's last role ever, as well as Bud Cort and several other actors. I can't think of his name. The main star is played by the crazy garbage burning guy in Repo Man. That's a good one too. Karen Black in that one as well. Surveillance. That's another fucking good one, which kind of hits on the same tones that Lustig utilizes in both Maniac and Relentless. But there have not been many movies to really capture that tone since then. And that kind of aspect, Relentless really works really fucking well. As far as getting back to the story beats, you've got the cops assigned on the case, played by Leo Rossi as Sam Dietz, and Robert Loggia, the veteran detective on the case, Bill Malloy. And then supporting actress Meg Foster as the wife, Carol Dietz. And she's not just like background furniture as far as the movie goes. Her role is actually a vital part of the movie, which is another thing that I really kind of appreciated as far as that inclusion. She's an active participant in the life of her husband, Sam Dietz, played by Leo Rossi. She's supportive, she's encouraging, she's engaging, which are all things that I think a lot of other movies in similar veins were just kind of underwritten her and given her not really a whole lot to say. And when she's in the movie, her role is important, which is nice. It's a nice change of pace. I appreciate it. It's little things in movies like this, genre, breaking genre tropes, as it were, which is something Lustig really liked to do back then. Sadly, I want to say his last movie was Uncle Sam, which, if I'm honest, I've never been able to get through 100% of. So maybe that's something to challenge myself with next July. We'll see. Maybe I'll talk about it then, if this is still going on. Who knows? Back to Relentless. So basically, you got these two cops tasked with bringing in this serial killer. And the movie really just kind of hits its stride when it follows what these characters are doing on that road. And And I don't want to get too much more into it than that because, again, I don't want to drop a bunch of spoilers beyond what you've already seen in the trailer and what you already know from what I've already told you. Just know that the way it's written and the way it's acted, the filming, it's fucking fantastic. The movie did not do very well financially. I want to say it did recoup its budget. I don't think the critics really dug it too much, which it doesn't surprise me because they probably saw William Lustig's name and dismissed it, considering how lambasted he was for a lot of his other output. Luckily for him, he's not just director or CEO of Blue Underground, which is a line of film that fucking rivaled by Anchor Bay, maybe second only to Anchor Bay as far as old school shit goes. But Blue Underground's still pushing, still shilling movies, which is awesome to see. They just released a 4K version of Maniac, which I imagine looks fucking amazing. Although it's like, do you really need to see Maniac in 4K? I mean, maybe a nice 2K scan. It's a 16mm movie. Come on. I digress. So Blue Underground still going, and he's also done acting bits. Been in a lot of Sam Raimi joints as like uncredited stand-ins for some of the actors that they've had playing on that, as well as other movies. And just a cool dude from what I've seen, from what I've heard him talk about. I don't really know where I was going with that tangent. Only to say William Lustig, fucking cool shit. Talking about the movie itself. That's right, the reception. I think in retrospect, the movie holds up a lot better than what people were initially saying about it in 1989. And it kind of irks me that a director like, say, Lucio Fulci's New York Ripper could be so lauded now. And this movie so ignored. New York Ripper, it's enjoyable. It's a fun movie. It's a very mean-spirited movie and kind of has the worst killer ever. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that's not seen it, but it fucking annoys the shit out of me. If I'm honest, I don't know if I just lost all my cred right there. The New York Ripper, of all the Fulci movies that I've seen, is one of my least favorites. And I only bring that up because if a movie like that could succeed, there's no reason why Relentless shouldn't have some sort of revival. Would be fucking awesome to see Blue Underground get the rights from TriStar Columbia and do something really special with a release, because I would love to see some extra features about the making of that. I'd love to see, like, if they could get Judd Nelson in there to talk about it. Leo Rossi, of course, who I should mention went on to star in the not just one, not just two, but 3 fucking sequels to Relentless that came out. I've not seen any of them, if I'm honest. Not a one. Somebody thought it was good enough to warrant those sequels, and I would say if those sequels had been done in a manner more akin to this one, maybe I would be more compelled to sit down and devote the time needed to really dive into those. As it stands, I'm just going to kind of leave this where we're at right now. Relentless. Fucking rules. You should see it. It's awesome. And on that note, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm surprised that you've made it this far. And if you have, again, I most humbly appreciate all of the engagement, all of the encouragement, all of the appreciative remarks that pop up when these videos get published. So yeah, expect more. I have a lot of ideas. Next ones should be good. We're going to call it maybe a triple feature, but I'm not going to go into a full-on review of 3 films, but there are 3 films that I want to kind of touch base on, to talk about, to bring to light, to maybe help grab a new audience of some sort. That said, take care of yourselves, YouTube. Stay healthy and keep it real.